fans, welcome to another episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast, the podcast for diehard Cavs fans. I'm Corey. I am here, as always, with Alex. Good evening, sir.
Hey, Corey. How you doing?
I need to check in and see how you're doing because the Cavs are on the largest losing streak of the season with 3 weeks left to go before the playoffs. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you right now?
I'm not worried at all. It is, I don't know. Like they haven't been playing the way that they've been playing all season, but I'm not too concerned about it. I think they've just been taking it easy. They rested Mitchell for a game. They rested Garland for a game. These past couple of games, they just haven't been playing defense like they typically do play defense, but yeah, I mean, on top of watching all these Cavs games, I've been watching nearly every March Madness game, so just pretty tired.
Yeah, West Coast games and then watching March Madness, which a lot of
Just
those are during the day and
basketball
stuff.
game
Yeah,
after
just
basketball game after
basketball after
yeah.
basketball. Before we recorded, Alex called Cooper Flag Cooper Cup.
Yeah, I can't even keep track of
He couldn't
who's
even
on
keep
what
track.
team anymore. Like I've watched so many games. There's
Cooper
been so
Cup.
many great upsets though. There's been so many good games.
Yeah.
We're doing a bracket, challenge tournament at work too. And I was in third place last I looked, so doing
Very
okay.
nice. Very nice. Very nice. Well, the Cavs are out on their 5-game West Coast trip as we record this episode here on Saturday night. Unfortunately, they've gone 0-3, and they also dropped the home game before the West Coast trip against the Orlando Magic, which we'll get into a little bit. And yeah, Alex, it's kind of crazy that we're about 3 weeks left until the end of the season, and this is the largest losing streak the Cavs have had, all year. And I've seen some larger, national social media accounts and stuff like that, kind of trying to troll a little bit, putting up some memes and stuff like that. I saw one, I think today, where like maybe you've seen the Spider-Man one where it's Bob, what's his name, Barker, um, with glasses on and with glasses off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he has the glasses on, the Cavs look like the Cavs, right? Like it's our lineup. And then the meme was on the part where the glasses are off. It was like the 2015 Atlanta Hawks team, like Al Horford and Joe Johnson and all those guys. Where
Yeah.
yeah, so the media's some channels are poking some fun right now, but it's okay. It's okay because again, if this is the worst basketball the Cavs play all season, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just coasting, right? Like they're already locked into the playoffs. They're resting guys. It's getting close to the end of the season, so it's just they're just waiting. They're just taking it easy. And I've been seeing a lot of the ticket releases on VetTix for free tickets for veterans. So if you're a military veteran, check out VetTix. But yeah, they've been posting Cavs tickets for the last several games in April pretty frequently.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and I did see that, if you look at the standings today, the Cavs now only are up 5 games on the Boston Celtics. The chances of the Celtics, though, actually catching the Cavs are still pretty slim. But what the Cavs don't want to do is give the Celtics any kind of hope or let them kind of inch closer, in the standings and go into the playoffs kind of feeling like, okay, we're right there, we're neck and neck. That's the mental advantage you've had over the entire Eastern Conference all year is, a lot of the times having double digit, leads in the standings, like minus the Boston Celtics. And you don't want teams in the East to start to see the Cavs kind of allow that gap to be closed, right? So what I'm curious to see is every time there's been adversity for the Cavs this year, which hasn't been very often, by the way, the Cavs have always seemed to answer. And they have an option. They have a chance to do so. With we'll talk about the remaining games left on the schedule. There's 12 left. Um, I'm not worried either. Maybe a 4 out of 10, something like that, just because it's like, I don't want to see my team losing, and especially the time of the year. I want them to stay focused and keep beating up on everybody like they have so much. But at the same time, um, hey, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens. We're healthy. We're healthy. That's all I care about right now.
Yeah, the last time we talked, the Cavs they weren't playing great basketball either. Like they were getting down
Yeah.
by a
Yeah.
lot. We
Yeah.
were calling them the comeback Cavs
Comeback
because they would get
Cavs.
down by a lot and then they would come back in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
and win. Well,
Right.
they're still playing that same way, only now they're not coming back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it, but at the same time, like
The signs are there, right? Like
I
that.
hope
That
that
can't be a
they
pattern.
get back to
Yeah.
what they were at the in the postseason, and they don't
Right.
continue the four many bad habits or such like that.
Right. Right. At the end of the day, 16-4 out of your last 20 ain't too shabby. Right? It ain't too bad at all. And again, we're healthy. That's all I care about at this point. Just focus the rest of the season, get through it, get ready for the playoffs. Um, and we'll see what happens from there. But Alex, why don't we get into kind of some of these recent games and kind of talk about, what we've seen at least, or kind of if anything else has kind of caught your eye in these games. Um, the most recent one was against the Phoenix Suns. Um, Credit to the Suns. I thought they played pretty good this game, and Durant had a throwback game for sure. Finished with 42 points and was sniffing around triple double territory. But Alex, what kind of caught your eye in this game, or any positives from this game? I'll tell you the
I,
biggest negative that
yeah,
stuck
I
out.
mean, well, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
the thing that hit me the most was how just, I mean, not just this game, but also the past couple of games was just how lackadaisical their defense has been. Just not being careful with the ball, careless turnovers, careless passing. The ball getting stolen for easy layups on the other side. That's kind of what I've been seeing frequently these past few games, especially the Suns game.
You know what I saw? Donovan Mitchell scoring 7 points.
Yeah,
That ain't gonna do it, bro.
yeah,
That ain't gonna
two
do
for
it.
18.
He has not. He has not had a great month, I
No.
would say. Um, After winning Eastern Conference Player of the Month again for I don't know what, the third or fourth time at least of the season, winning that back in February. He has not followed that up with a very great month. Hasn't quite been himself on the offensive end, which is okay. I mean, hey, but 7 points. I mean, that
Hmm.
31 minutes, 7 points. That's not going to get it done. And he even admitted after the game, he's like, that's on me. He's like, just put this one on me. I can't be performing like that and expect us to win. Um, so that was the biggest thing that stood out to me. Like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And other than that, I mean, you know, nobody else really stepped up and had a great game to kind of fill that gap from the lack of scoring of Mitchell. Mobley gave you 16, Garland gave you 18, Ty Jerome gave you 16 off the bench. But Jared Allen was quiet. Max Struess didn't have a great game. Hunter put in 17, but it wasn't enough, especially when Durant goes off for 42. And just like you said, the lack of defense and just kind of careless passes and so on and so forth. It was a bad loss, Alex. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah, it
It was a
wasn't it
bad
wasn't
loss.
pretty basketball, and with Donovan Mitchell, what they say, shooters shoot. He's got to shoot himself out of the slump, but at the same
Yeah,
time, I think at some point when you're 0 for 8 from three, you got to do some other things to help the team win.
yeah.
You had other guys that were knocking threes down pretty consistently, like Hunter and Ty Jerome. So
Yeah.
Move the ball.
Evan Mobley had a nice block on Durant. Durant kind of just tried to pull up from the top of the key, and Mobley just met him at the top of his release like it was nothing, and that turned into I believe a Darius Garland layup, if I'm not mistaken. So that was pretty cool, kind of seeing when Mobley and Durant were matched up together and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just
the
funny because they got such a similar build, and it's just like, my God, like they're both just twigs.
mm-hmm.
That's one thing that hopefully Mobley will continue to do in the off season, right? Keep working on his body, putting on some more mass, and so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
it was cool to see him, block Durant on that play.
Durant's got that unstoppable mid-range game where he
He
can
does.
just
He does.
create space and make a shot every single time he goes down the court if he wants to. Mobley could do that. I mean, he could learn that. He could, he has that potential, but I don't know. I don't know if he ever will. He's much more of an inside scorer.
Yeah. There's
Um,
there's very few players in the NBA though that could meet Durant at the top of his release like Mobley can though. So that at least he's got that going. I don't think he'll ever be the scorer that Durant is, and the way that Durant scores at least. But it was kind of cool seeing them matched up in that game. Um, so okay, whatever. I feel like we played the Suns early in the year. I feel like we smashed them. That's why I was kind of mad that we lost that game. But the one before that, kind of to me, come on, man, it's the Kings.
yeah, the
it's,
Kings.
it's the Kings. Like, yeah, they got DeRozan out there. They got some guys, but I mean, they're not a great basketball team.
Yeah, we
Um,
we let Malik Monk just
yeah,
kill us.
exactly. Didn't they get Zach Levine? Is he hurt already?
I don't know.
Thought they
Did
traded
they?
for him. Thought they traded for him because I thought I heard that DeRozan and Levine were back together again. I remember seeing him make his debut game and all that stuff, but I haven't paid attention since. Um, but I don't see that
What
Levine
team
played.
was DeRozan in?
Chicago Bulls.
Oh, they were in Chicago together. Okay.
Yeah. With Vujicic and Ball, they were supposed to have a squad. But yeah, the Kings, not a great team, especially out west. Mitchell played better this game, 26 points in 35 minutes. Mobley had a monster game, double double, 31 points, 10 rebounds. Like it felt like there was enough here, and the Cavs, had the lead a couple times in this game, and they kind of just squandered it away, Alex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had the lead at the half, and then they came out in that third quarter and just the Kings went off. Like they
Yeah,
couldn't stop them. The defense was just kind of and the Kings just took advantage.
they gave up 43 points. Yeah, in the third quarter. That's like what the Cavs have been doing to teams, but yeah, they never really recovered from that. And
And the biggest thing that stood out to me was just how dominant Mobley was in this game too, though, right? Like Mobley had 31 points,
yes,
10 rebounds. He was just killing the Kings.
yeah,
But if it doesn't amount to a win, then what good is it? But
yeah,
yeah, it was kind of a
exactly.
coming out game for Mobley. Another one of those this season. He's had several now.
Yeah, Mobley has been really fun to watch this year. He definitely was deserving as an all-star. It's what we've been waiting for for at least a season or two now, was for kind of his coming out party, and it's going to be exciting to see. I'm excited to see how he does in the playoffs. Is he going to be confident? Is he going to be, unsure? Is he going to, I don't know. You know what I mean? And it'll depend on what team we're playing against and who he's matched up against and what happens when he's up against a bigger physical, big. What's he going to do? Is he going to get pushed around, or is he going to use his speed, his agility, his shooting to his advantage? So I'm very excited to watch Evan Mobley in the playoffs this year for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and it does seem kind of hit and miss. It just depends who he ends up matched up against, and it's also the same thing with Allen. It's like If it's
Yeah,
a muscular center, then Allen and Mobley tend to get pushed around. Otherwise,
yeah,
if it's someone around their same, I don't know, body type, skill type, they tend to dominate.
yeah. They take advantage. The good thing is they take advantage more than they don't. But yeah, Jared Allen, same thing. Sometimes, depending on the matchup, he's not able to do the type of things that he's able to do most of the times, and that's going to hurt you. So it'll be interesting. Um, DeRozan still a good player, but same thing like Durant. Like these guys are, they've been around for a minute, and you kind of let him have a throwback game with 27 points. And then, like you said, Malik Monk gives you 22, and they had 6, 7 players in double digits, and just yeah, Cavs just couldn't figure out a way to hold on to that game, unfortunately. No Mike Brown. They let go of Mike Brown.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did. That was a little bit earlier in the season, I believe. They were on All Star break. I thought I heard.
Is Mike Brown with any team now, or?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I don't follow him on Twitter anymore, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where he's at. Probably, you know what he's probably doing? He's probably still getting paid by the Cleveland Cavaliers in some way.
Probably.
In some way,
We're probably still paying all those coaches.
I know.
Beeline.
You can't say that name around here.
We're paying all those
Oh my
guys. Probably
god.
still paying Ty Lue.
Yeah. He did win us a championship though. So
It's true.
I'm down with paying Ty Lue. All right, Alex. Clippers game. Man. What you got on this one?
Oh, Clippers. Harden, man. Harden's still good. Like it just seemed like he was able to pick his shots.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I don't know. It's another game that we came out firing on all cylinders, and then in the second half we just let it all slip away. Same exact thing in this game. I mean, we were leading at the half, and then they just blew us out in the third quarter. So I don't know what the deal is coming out of the locker room, but the Cavs just are not sticking with their game plan, or maybe the other team is just making adjustments. Yeah, I really don't know what the problem is here.
Bogdanovich was a nice pickup for the Clippers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he came from where was he? Maybe Atlanta when Atlanta was doing their fire sale. They got Bogdanovich, we got Hunter. Don't remember who else they got rid of, if anybody. But that's a nice pickup. He had 20 points this game. But to me, what pissed me off the most was Zubiak going off for 28 and 20. Are you kidding me? The center.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then Leonard gives you 33, Harden gives you 22. I mean, between those four guys, you're sniffing around 100 points. So it just can't do that. And expect to win a basketball game. And the Cavs obviously didn't answer on the offensive end. And to give up that much on the defensive end obviously isn't going to help you either. And here you go. Yeah, Jared Allen, only 8 points that game, was not able to do what he is capable of doing, and Zubiak took advantage. So
Yeah, yeah. They also have Nick Batum, but
yeah,
yeah, I was talking. In our last episode, I was watching that I think it was Court of Gold, the documentary about the Olympic Games, and both Batum and Bogdanovich were heavily featured in that as two of the better international players, and it kind of followed them around a bit.
Batum
So
has. I feel like Batum's been in the league forever. He's got to be up there now,
you think?
age wise.
I think
I feel like
Bogdanovich is up there too, though, age wise. Yeah, Batum is 36.
36. Okay, okay. And they also got Ben Simmons, by the way. Remember for a minute there, he could have been a Cleveland Cavalier because there was interest when he got bought out by Brooklyn. That would have been kind of crazy.
Bogdanovich is 32.
Okay,
But he's been
man.
playing since he's been pro since he was like 16 or something like that. He's one of those kind of similar to Ricky Rubio, how he went pro
Yeah,
super
so
young.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy though because Batum. It feels like he's been around forever. If he's 36, he's definitely up there. But you know, he could play another 2, 3 years yet.
Ben
You know,
Simmons, man, he got 13 minutes and did not do a thing.
did
He
not
took
do a
one
thing.
shot and missed it.
Yep.
He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't it. He
He
was
will
like an
not.
all-star his first 2-3 seasons. Was he rookie of the
Yeah.
year? Maybe. It's like crazy, like just how he's
Ben
not
Simmons will not
playing
be
well.
part of the playoff rotation, is my
Yeah,
prediction when the playoffs come for the
it's
Clippers.
crazy. First round pick.
They can't all be winners, Alex. We drafted Anthony Bennett. Just remember that. All right. Anthony Bennett. Who's had a better career, Anthony Bennett or Ben Simmons?
At least Ben Simmons had those 2 or 3 seasons.
And Ben Simmons is still in the league, right?
Bennett
Granted,
never
they were
had
drafted at
anything
different
close to that.
times, but
Right.
Bennett was what, 3, 4 seasons in the NBA, somewhere
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
Simmons got to be approaching what, 8, 9, 10 years, right?
What about JJ Hickson? He have a better career than
JJ wasn't the number 1 overall pick, but he did prevent me from getting Amari Stoudemire. So every
yeah.
time I hear JJ's name, that's what I think about. But JJ was all right. He was able to do some things. A different time. He was a big. He wasn't like what a big is today, jacking up 3-pointers. He was a workhorse. But yeah, the Cavs.
He was a rebounder and that was it.
He was a rebounder and gets you some slot points. But the Cavs didn't want to let go of him for a chance to get Amari Stoudemire. So that puts him on the naughty list, unfortunately, in my eyes, at least.
I think we're going off the rails a little bit.
That's all right. That's all right. So the last game will probably, on this 4-game skid was the last game before they went on this West Coast trip. This one stings too, Alex. The Orlando Magic coming to Cleveland and steal a victory
Yeah.
on a Sunday.
I hate losing to the Magic. I hate it.
Yeah.
Banchero, the Wagner brothers, they're just also cocky and I don't know. They just always rub me the wrong way every time we play them. I hate to lose to them.
Well, we got some history with them too, right? Playing against them in the
That's
playoff series.
right.
And they're down at the bottom of the standings. They'll be in a play-in game. They're currently the 8th seed. So there is a potential for a first round matchup there, depending on how things play out or whatever. And yeah, I'm with you. I also hated losing to the Magic because for a while they've been hovering around that area in the standings, and you just, again, it's a mental thing. You don't want to give them any kind of confidence, any kind of hope that hey, wait, we just beat this team. If the playoffs start in 3 weeks, we just beat this team a couple weeks ago at home on their home court. Like we're not afraid of them. We can, we took them to 7 games the year before in the play. Like, you just don't want them to build up that confidence. So that's one of those losses that's just like, any other time of the season, who cares, right? It's a regular season game, but that last regular season game before going into the playoffs,
Yeah.
in what could potentially be a first round matchup, it's like, just poor timing to let that one kind of slip through. I mean, credit to the Magic, they played some pretty good D down towards the end of that game, but that was one that the Cavs have been sneaking out those wins in that type of scenario, and they just weren't able to do it. And then followed up with 3 more stinkers on the West Coast after that. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Orlando sits in the 8th seed right now, so potentially first round matchup, and here we are giving them confidence against us.
yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. But at the same time, it's just, an untimely loss there at home, which the Cavs have been excellent at. They've only lost 6 games at home or something all season, something crazy like that. So they've been dominant, when they're at home. And that's just one of those games where,
It was just such an ugly game.
yeah, it was.
I mean,
It's not a good
look
game.
at this. I mean, Banchero, he went 6 for 22. He only made 6 shots and took 22 shots, but he still had 24 points because they sent him
Yeah,
to the free throw line 11 times. And then you look at our box score and you got Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. They combined for 8 turnovers. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just
can't
being
do that.
sloppy with the ball. Yeah.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Did you hear the and I don't have it like up in front of me or anything like that, but after that game, I heard some stuff come out about Bancaro talking smack about Jerome. Did you hear about that?
They got into it yeah, in the game, and Jerome
Mhm.
got to take some free throws, and Bancaro was still chirping at him about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something like afterwards though, like kind of like what he was saying or whatever, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like the only reason you look good, or the only reason why you're anything right now is because you're on a good team or something like that. And Ty Jerome's like, you can't guard me, and
Yeah, and I
stuff
think
like
that took
that.
place in the second quarter,
Yeah.
and then ever since, that, or maybe it took place in the third quarter, I can't remember, but ever since, like, they got into that little skirmish, like,
Hmm.
that's when that game started going downhill for the Cavs. It's like, damn it,
Yeah.
if you're gonna run your mouth and talk,
You
then
got to
you got to
back it up.
back it up. Yeah, you can't
Y-
let them
You got to
walk all
back it
over you
up.
then.
And that's one thing I'll say is missing from this team. There's no real enforcer, right? Nobody in your rotation, at least, that's an enforcer.
Thompson, TT.
TT can go out there and throw an elbow or two, but TT ain't gonna sniff any time in a playoff series is the problem. Unless you're just throwing him out there for the fact of sending a message, right? So you have no one in your actual rotation that's kind of like that enforcer type player. So to where the Magic, Wagner could be, the center Wagner could be a little physical, and they're again, I'm very interested to see how the Cavs do, because you're going to get a different look from these teams than what you did in the regular season. So everybody realizes it's also a mental game. So everybody's going to be chirping. Everybody's going to be throwing that extra, elbow, going for the rebound, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So
Yeah, I mean TT. Yeah, even in this Magic game, I mean he went in for 11 minutes, and
mhm.
he didn't do anything except for 3 fouls. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
if you're saying to the Cavs have an enforcer, I'd say Tristan Thompson, maybe Javante Green. He's been really scrappy. He's kind of a really physical dude, but neither of those guys are going to get minutes in the playoffs more than likely.
Probably not. It'll Green maybe more than Thompson, and it'll be for like a 3 minute spurt or
Yeah,
something like
so you're
that.
right. We don't have an enforcer that's actually in the rotation.
They traded the enforcer. They traded Niang out to Atlanta with the
Yeah,
minivan. No,
he
I'm
was
just
just a mouth runner too.
kidding.
He couldn't back up nothing.
Yeah. So that's the last four games. The last game that they won was against the Memphis Grizzlies. I will say, Alex, what was funny about that game was at the time the West is so close in the standings that at the time of that game they were the number 2 seed, and the Cavs absolutely obliterated them. The score looks closer than what it actually was because the starters were pulled with 5 minutes left in the game, and then Memphis, you know, bench players started hitting some buckets. But I'm watching that game and I'm like, really, this is the number 2 team in the East, because we are just wiping the floor with them. And I'm looking at Memphis's roster, and I just like I don't see it. Like, sure, Ja's nice and Ja had a great game, but we've seen that path here in Cleveland where when you have one guy going off for 45 points and nobody else doing anything, it's not a good recipe. So I was kind of blown away that they were where they at in the standings at that time. But the Cavs played a beautiful game that game, and wiped the floor with them. It was great, and that was on the road too, if not mistaken. So
Yeah,
they need to get back to that, Alex. They need to get back to that. And the good news is they have an opportunity to, because on Sunday, the day that this episode will probably come out, they play the second worst team in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. 3:30 game Sunday.
yeah. I like the Utah Jazz. They're kind of like the old Cavs
They are.
with Markkanen and Sexton.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
still have no. They don't have Abaji anymore.
Nah, they traded him. He's
Yeah,
over in Toronto. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, here's some adversity. Both Atkinson and Mitchell have kind of been saying it was funny before the loss against the Suns. After they lost to the Kings, Mitchell was kind of like, he said something along the lines of like, I'm actually happy right now. He's like something like, I'm kind of that psycho that kind of enjoys this. It's what makes the season fun, having some adversity,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Atkinson was trying to just stay positive, like, yeah, this is an opportunity to learn. Thought we played better in the second half. We just didn't, we weren't there the whole game, but like it's allowing us to learn, right? So now we got to see what they do, and they have some games lined up here that is kind of handed to him on a silver platter because they have the Utah Jazz, the Trailblazers, the Spurs are their next three, and then they got the Pistons. Um, so if there's a time to kind of jump back and get back on a winning streak, I would say it starts with tomorrow's game against the Utah Jazz, Alex.
Yeah, totally winnable game.
You
Hopefully
lose
the
that
Cavs.
game. If you lose that game, my 4 is going to go up to about a 6.
Yeah, it's just hard knowing. Are they just taking it easy and coasting until postseason? You don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a very important game for them to win.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got 12 games less. You can't do something like go 6-6 or 5-7 or
They
something
might.
stupid like that.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That'd be
It
horrible.
really
That'd be
wouldn't.
horrible. You don't want that going into the
They still
playoffs.
got a 5 game. There's still 5 games over the Celtics for first place in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
So
you don't want to give them any opportunity to think that they can overtake the Cavs for the number 1 seed.
I hear
A lot.
you.
I mean, we'd have to lose a lot. They'd have to win a lot, but it's mathematically possible, Alex.
It's a balance.
Yeah. So it's what's crazy is looking at the rest of the schedule. Um, so they play those 3 against the Pit, and then the Pistons. They'll get another shot at the Clippers, and then they play the Spurs again. They play the Knicks twice and the Pacers twice, all before the end of the season, Alex. They'll get another shot at the Kings as well, and then the Bulls are stuck in there too. So kind of a weird ending to the season where they play 3 teams twice. So half of your games are against, the same teams. But there's winnable games there. And what I like is that there's also some more kind of heat check games because the Pacers are always just kind of scrappy teams that the Cavs seem to not match up the greatest with. The Pistons, they're kind of a team rising in the East, out to prove things.
Yeah.
So they're gonna
JB's
give
got
you all
them
the yeah
overachieving. So
yeah they're gonna give you
yeah,
everything
they're
they
going to be
got.
a yeah.
And then the Knicks, who are kind of nobody's really giving them any sort of chance, right, to do anything in the East this year because they're below the Cavs, they're below the Celtics. But you're gonna get them twice, and they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna be let's see where they are in the standings. They're playing for seeding still because they got the Pacers, not too far behind them, a couple games behind them, but they need to play basketball and they're going to want to send the Cavs a message as well. So the Cavs will have some games here that are very winnable, but they're going to have some challenges here too. And I'm excited to see how the Cavs react to that.
Yeah.
Predictions for their last 12 games, Alex, if you had to go record.
Um
Or I'll let you do it this way. They're
hmm.
sitting at 56 wins. They got 12 to go. So the max they can get to is 68. What are you putting their final win total at for the season? Maybe that's more fun. Total wins.
I'm going to put their total wins at that's tough.
That is tough.
76 wins.
76. They got 56
I know,
wins
I'm just
now.
kidding. 66 wins.
I was like, holy, here comes Cooper Cup again. Or whatever the hell you said before we started recording. I'm like, boy. 66. I'm gonna go one less. I'm gonna go 65. 65 wins. That's a nice season, Alex. When's the last time we had 60 plus wins? It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. We'll get another episode or 2 in there before the playoffs actually start. Alex, you already talked about March Madness a little bit. We you had some news on some former Cavs players though
Oh yeah.
that we want to spend a minute or two talking about before we kind of wrap up this episode.
Yeah, so I saw an article about Cavs legend Samardo Samuels reportedly arrested in Milan, Italy, where he lives. A little excerpt from the article here. Samardo Samuels was arrested in Milan on Saturday night. The 36-year-old Jamaican was allegedly playing extremely loud music and drinking alcohol in the courtyard of a residential building, alongside a cane corso dog. A family fearing for their safety called the authorities, and he was eventually apprehended. "I'm a
So
champion. I'm not a criminal," he shouted while struggling to follow the directions of the authorities. The incident reportedly marked the fifth police intervention due to his behavior over recent weeks, following further investigation. An ongoing case for stalking and violating a restraining order was confirmed. Additional complaints include several past altercations with residents and even an assault on a delivery worker. So,
jeez.
Samardo Samuels, what are you doing, man?
This was basically for loud music and drinking, right?
Yeah,
That would be like what I would get in trouble for when I was like in high school.
I'm a
Or
champion. I'm not a
like
criminal.
he's got to I don't know how old he is, but it's like what who
36.
gets arrested for
Yeah.
that? Who gets arrested for that these days? Like come on. And if for the fans that have no idea who we're talking about, Samardo Samuels played 3 years in the NBA. All 3 years were for the Cleveland Cavaliers during the dark years, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
This was after LeBron left the Cavs for the Miami Heat. And if you succumbed yourself to watching Cavs basketball those few years, you know who Smarto is. If you weren't, you don't know who the heck we're talking about. But Smarto Samuels, man, can't believe
Yeah,
it.
he's been playing in a lot of different leagues in the Euro League.
Averaged about 6 points, 4 rebounds for the Cavs. Played in 109 games for the Cavs over those 3 years.
Yeah, and then the J.R. Smith. They've been doing a J.R. Smith shot of the day video clip in the Cavs subreddit, and it's been pretty entertaining. Lots of great clips of J.R. hitting incredible shots. Who knew there were so many? But
That's awesome.
it's definitely a fun watch.
That's got to be a fun watch. And you go in that subreddit quite frequently. Is this the first time you've seen them do something like this, like a former Cavs player?
No, they've done similar things in the past. Somebody
Okay.
will start some sort of series of something similar.
Well,
But
the shot of the day thing, I was just curious if that was the first time they started or not, because it's like thinking about it, like if someone was to come up with that, like probably most people wouldn't think of JR right away, right? They're gonna think of like Mark Price or Kyrie Irving or you know, but JR Smith's actually an excellent choice for a series like that because there's probably so many ridiculous shots that he both took and made that we have already forgotten. You know what I mean? So like that would be a fun thing to follow. And I'm curious how long they'll do that. How long has it been going? Do you know?
I don't know how long it's been going, but the one they posted today, uh, Saturday 3/22, is awesome. It's like a turnaround, a spinning turnaround, no look jump shot from almost mid court, nails it. It's
Crazy.
just fantastic.
Crazy. I hope it's not something where they do it for like 6 days and then they stop. I hope they do it for like 76 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just give us a JR clip every day. Like that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's awesome. Great idea. That's a great idea. Go check it out, Cavs fans. Then what else you got, Alex?
And then in other news, Brad Doherty and Mark Price will be in Strongsville for the Sports Card Collectors Convention. So Strongsville, Ohio, the weekend of, I believe it's April 11th through April 13th.
Very cool.
So go there, see Brad Doherty, Mark Price, get some stuff signed, autographed. Quite a few other. There's going to be some Cleveland Indians players there. Supposedly Dennis Rodman's going to be there. I
The
saw him on
worm.
advertisements. I don't know if that's real or not.
I've seen it too, though. I've seen it that
That's pretty
Dennis
wild.
Rodman's going to be there.
I want to say Bernie Kosar was on the list. He's always around for that kind of thing.
Be cool, man. Go take some Mark Price cards up there and get them signed, Alex.
Yeah, maybe.
Got a good amount. I got a good amount of cards from both those guys.
I'd have to go digging through boxes.
Yeah. Cards were fun back at that time, but they're not really worth much these days. Those cards, like 1990 Fleer. Not going to get very much for a Mark Price 1990 Fleer card. About 15 cents. So get it signed, and then it'll be worth maybe $1. But very cool that they will be there at the Strongsville Card Convention. Man, we were just talking the other day at work about kind of cards and stuff like that. And if you grew up in the '90s, I mean, cards were a thing to do, right? But that makes me want to go look through my cards too, just to see what I have.
I have boxes and boxes of cards that I haven't looked through in, 20 years. Yeah, I I don't know if I have anything that's worth anything, but card collecting is still extremely popular and alive and well. If you look on eBay, there's so many, there's still plenty of places you can send cards in and get them graded. And
yeah,
I'm not really into it anymore, but I know it's still quite popular.
You might even have a Smarta Samuels card.
Too
recent.
I don't think so.
Yeah, too recent. You were long done
recent.
by that point.
Yeah.
I might have some Smarto Samuel cards, so I need to look through. And maybe over the summer, Alex, we did it. I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago now. We were posting a Cavs card a day for a little while on social media. Maybe we'll have to start that up again over the summer just to have some content.
Maybe that'll be my project for the summer.
It'll be your project. Go through
all my boxes of cards and find all my Cavs players and
find all the random Cavs players that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot he even played for the Cavs, and then it's a Bill Laimbeer card, right? You haven't pulled that thing out. I was just gonna
pull the Bill Laimbeer card out. You just
ruined it. Since you moved to your new place, you haven't even pulled it out once, man. It's disappointing.
I think I have. Yes, I have. I'm
you
sure
to
it's
carry
sitting
it in your
right
wallet.
here
He's
somewhere.
looking for it.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see, but if you're listening,
it's never too far out of my reach.
There's
the Bill Laimbeer.
Is that signed?
Yeah, it's autographed. I don't know if it's a real autograph. I got it off eBay.
How much did you pay for that? How much did you pay for that off eBay? Do you remember?
It was like $5. Yeah, it was something real cheap. But it was from a good seller, that was.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Pretty credible, but who knows?
If Bill Laimbeer was at the Strongsville Card Convention, Alex would be.
Oh yeah, the Prince of Darkness. Yeah, absolutely, I would be there.
Definitely. All right, Alex. Let's wrap this episode up. I think we've gone on long enough about nonsense here. Want to thank you, Cavs fans, as always, for tuning in and listening. And Alex, you want to let them know where they can follow us and connect with us?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter at Cavs Pick and Roll. Shoot us an email, cavspickandroll@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. Watch this episode on YouTube. Wherever you're listening, watching, click like, subscribe, leave us a rating or a review. We'd appreciate it.
All right, Cavs fans, there it is. We will talk to you again soon.
Peace out, Cavs fans.